So welcome everybody because there's nobody. Welcome nobody then, and hopefully during the course of this day you will um, visit Canvas and watch the recording. This would be our last chapter for the curriculum, as I said, from next week on, starting on Monday with feedback on your tests, formal test results, and discussion of the memo, as well as assignment one, discussion of the assignment, feedback, and the memo. Um, Sorry, not on Monday, on Wednesday. I forgot that after the first couple of weeks this semester, we changed the timetable to Wednesday double, Thursday double, and Friday double. For the sake of the rest of this semester, that would be our start of our revision um, in preparation for your summative exam at the end of the year. Um, there's enough time for us to do proper revision and proper preparation. I am going to change the revision format to what we were used to in the first semester slightly. I'm going to give you homework to do in advance, which we'll then discuss in every revision session. Okay, but more about that later. That is for next week, so you do have an idea of what to expect next week. Right. Um, let's do the final chapter. It's, as I said, not necessarily an insignificant and necessarily less important chapter. It's a subject that most of you as Gen Zs, excluding some individuals in this group, from the impact on what technology has had on the sales profession, where often it is seen as a threat by many, and those are usually the individuals who are slightly insecure or lack certain skills and haven't really embraced the advantages that technology can offer the sales profession. Very often people say, now people can go and buy online now. There's no direct contact anymore with the customers. People, we might have addressed it earlier on in some of the chapters. If we haven't, it is important to stress at this point that technology is not a threat to you in a career of sales. It actually is a benefit because you will now have all the benefits of technology to process more information quicker, to work through a lot more prospects quicker, to give almost real-time feedback to customers, to spend more time in actually working and servicing the customer and building those relationships, because technology has freed up time that you normally would have spent on admin. So the admin process has become much more has become much quicker, and also you have to realize that um, the future buying force or consumer um, is the one who's used to using technology. They expect to be communicated via the modern platforms. Right. Just a few things just to highlight. As I said, there's nothing that you probably haven't heard before. There's no unrevealing secrets or secrets that we are revealing in this particular chapter. It's just highlighting the relevance of technology and information communication technology specifically in the profession of sales. Now, data versus information. We've got to be clear what the difference is between data and information. Right. It's on the screen for you there. But basically, data referred to the collection of information. That's all the information that you have collected together. Where information is actually using that data that is now stored. You're using that data to improve your own efficiency. A database we've done it in earlier chapters, is basically just a collection of all that information, and in this case specifically the names, the addresses, the phone numbers, the buying history, previous records of sales and orders of existing customers, and then obviously of new customers as well. Right. Using technology. How do we use technology in sales? Well, firstly, technology and the information technology makes the information that we have immediately available to us. The information that we need to have, however, can include the following, and we have to ensure that at least a minimum information that's required. Morning, Lwando, are you doing well? Are you coping? It's Friday. No problem. You're not late because you're the only one. And at least you always go through the trouble of doing it. Are you on campus, Lwando, or are you at home still recovering? Good. On campus, down in the library again. Good, good. It must be quiet on campus, huh? There's not a lot of action going on in this. Usually on a Friday and towards the end of the semester. I know there's a couple of other schools that are writing tests and stuff. My son did write a few IT tests this week, but yeah, it is a bit quiet here on campus, which is nice because then you can focus and concentrate. But as I was saying, Lwando, and for the benefit of everybody else who will be listening to the recording later on, the information that you need to have, at least somewhere in a database that you can work with, regardless, and we'll see later on what all different devices and platforms that the information can be available on for a salesperson, or must be available on for a salesperson. But the info you need are the names, addresses, phone numbers of all your clients, as well as your prospects, which are your potential clients. You must also have information on the different venues where you can meet. In other words, where are your prospects located? What are the different stock levels? Tlacho, good morning, welcome. Prices, because if a customer inquires about a specific product, you must apart from knowing your subject, in other words, knowing the prices, among the features and the benefits of the product, also you must know if something is in stock, or if you're not sure, at least you must be logged into a network that can access that to check. When somebody says to you, and you've gone through the whole selling process, and you get to that point where you want to close the sale, and a person says, oh yeah, definitely, I'm in. Okay, and you want to get the paperwork ready. And you need to get those final details sorted out. You need to know if that particular vehicle is available, if it will be available before you commit yourself, and when you can, for instance, secure delivery for the customer, if the color and the fabric and of the interior and the exterior, if such an item is available for them, or when it will be available before you commit yourself and finalize the deal. That's the kind of things that's instantaneously available nowadays, and should be on some form of database and easily accessible to you. And it can be with the modern, with the use of modern technology. What's happening in the field? You have to be switched on. I mean, that's why you linked onto different websites, and you check, and you get your notifications of anything that's happening and changing in the field. You need to know what the current events are. If something happens in India now or in China now, it's not 30 years ago where that only becomes news tomorrow when it is out today. No, it happens now. You need to know it now, and that's I think one of the advantages that technology has brought us, because it makes information instantaneously or instantly available. Right. You need to also, because you've got greater storage availability on your databases, on your different devices. it makes the information that you have on your clients, or the amount of information that you have on your customers and potential customers, and their buying patterns and their needs, and the trends that's going out, or what is trending at the moment, for instance, that is available immediately and should be on your database. Right. Having said that, where do you store this? Cell phones nowadays, cell phones are still portable computers, people. It's the smallest portable computer because you have access to all, to the entire internet. And obviously, when you're in sales, it's probably going to come with your package when you are employed, that you have a cell phone package that you won't pay for, but that you at least know when it comes to data capacity and everything, that you will be able to do your job. A lot of people use laptops. I know that a friend of mine, for instance, he has 3 different offices. His home office, then he's got his mobile office that moves around. That's where he has his cell phone and his tablet in his car. At home, he has a laptop that's actually always switched on and on his desk in his office. And at work, there's a desktop that the company provides him. So wherever he goes, it's just a question of continuing where you left off, basically. So, and all of these devices are connected, obviously. Then, obviously, very popular flash drives. Highly external with quite substantial storage capacity. It fell out of my bag 2 weeks ago on campus. Fortunately, I'm in the habit of saving whatever's on my. I usually work from my external because it's easier to transport. And it was damaged. I had to completely reformat it, which meant that I lost all that information. I uploaded all the information, but fortunately, I only lost 1 week's work, which is fine. But again, when you have these portable devices like flash drives and external hard drives, make sure that you have backup for your backup, so to speak. Right. Fortunately, nowadays, if you work for a company, it's stored somewhere in the cloud anyway. Right. So you have access to that at least. Make sure that at least it is stored on all those platforms, that you at least have access if something happens. Then you still have people who are very old school. To a certain extent, I'm pretty old school. I've got two. I've got for each of the modules that I teach the semester and that I taught in the first semester, I've got an A5 notepad, which is small. It's half an A4. I keep it with me. I make notes on it. If one of you asks me a question, something I need to give you feedback on, I quickly scribble it down. I do save it on my devices, but I also have a written paper version somewhere, but not as much as it was as it was 10, 15 years ago. Right. GPSs, often used. You cannot get lost on the way to a customer. Google Maps and GPSs and all kinds of different people, Siri will get you there. But you need obviously access to that, and it's essential for a salesperson who's going to be on the road quite frequently. Priceless catalogs, instruction manuals, you must have electronic versions of that available too. And then obviously we know that all this information is on the web. Right, as I said, this session today is just browsing through things that you do know and highlighting devices and that is accessible to and should be accessible to a salesperson or to the modern salesperson. You cannot embrace technology if you do not have updated technology to use it most effectively. Right, apps, we know it's just similarly to what you find on a computer. It's a computer program, but it's just designed so you can use it on a smartphone. That's quite simply what it is. Right. What it does do is it actually makes the work real time, and it provides a virtual reality, creating a virtual reality, and it is time and place specific. I've not updated this presentation from last year. So that's best app for selling stuff 2020. If you go onto Google, you'll find that there's an annual update of that. So if you do best app for selling stuff in 2021, it's probably going to give you a couple of options to choose from. But it's quite interesting to see, and that is important also for a salesperson as part of their research, to look and see what is available, what's cooking, what's moving, what's trending, because that gives you that cutting edge. You stay ahead of the pack, or at least with the pack, and not fall behind, because that is where you actually lose the plot. Then we also know that everything that we do for our business is nowadays stored, or is not nowadays, cloud-based when it comes to the storage. Where cloud-based technology basically is electronic files that is stored on a server, and you working for a company through all the security with all the firewalls that's installed, and the access that you are provided through certain a security process makes it accessible only to you. We know that hackers will always try and do that. I watched that social network movie about Facebook, or the start of Facebook and the whole process Mark Zuckerberg went through. Last night again, it was quite interesting because I just wanted to refresh. It's amazing what people have done. And it's almost 20 years now since Facebook was started. Yeah, believe it or not. No, it's more than 20 years already. Time flies. But again, people, nowadays, electronic storage, somewhere on a server, it's what's used by most companies. Then we know that the internet, World Wide Web, network of websites, it's you've got to be logged in. You need access to that. You need to know where to find it. And one thing that I know, that the more the secret to using it effectively, in my opinion, because the internet is going to give you amazing access to leads, and help you with publicizing your products and helping you to generate more sales. But the one thing that I found is that sometimes, and I've spoken to students on other modules as well, Google is a wonderful tool available on the internet for you to actually find a lot of information, or to start your search process. If you use the correct words, you can actually find yourself searching for something and not finding the information that you require, because you're not using the correct keywords. So knowing the keywords that you need to use is going to give you quick access to the information that you need. Make sure that you identify. It's almost like writing an exam. I talk good morning. It's like almost like writing an exam and reading a question. Ensure that that question. Remember, when we structure the questions in the test or exam paper, we highlight in bold certain letters. Those are the operative words in a sentence. Describe the five-step process for me. Explain, name, list, provide examples. Those are words that you often find in questions that are highlighted in bold, because we want to emphasize their importance. So you know that you have to not just name the five steps, but you have to explain or describe those steps. Now it's exactly the same. You need to find those key words, and identify the keywords to make your search on the internet so much more efficient. Okay. Call centers are still used, believe it or not. Telesales is still happening. I've had calls regularly from a variety of companies still. Obviously, they are modifying their approaches slightly because of the POPI Act. We've discussed that. You cannot call somebody more than once. If you've made contact with them and they have not responded, you can't phone them again and keep on phoning and phoning and phoning, that like people, telesales people have done in the past. You have in your call centers two different types of calls that you deal with, or the people who are, like in that image, manning a call center. You've got the outgoing calls, for customers that you are phoning who maybe have responded and and you're just following up. Maybe they showed interest and they need more information. You're following up. Maybe you're working from a database of prospects and you're phoning, making cold calling. And then you obviously have people who are responding to some form of commercial or advertisement that you're putting out there, and they are responding on that 086 number, which is usually linked to your call center. Okay, so this is also a way of a way where the whole process of contacting customers, be it when they inquire information or when you contact them, regardless if it's in or outgoing. This is also one of the features of um, information communication technology that has made the whole selling process slightly more efficient. Okay. Staying in touch, emails, wonderful to have emails. You get quick access to a lot of information. However, there's a few things that we are going to be looking at when it comes to emails, and that's specifically using emails and using and what is the correct email etiquette. Don't be too friendly. It's still a business communication. In the past, you wrote somebody a letter and you mailed that person a letter. Now you're sending it via email, maybe with an attachment. It's still formal business. You have to still keep the formality. Unfortunately, do not become. It's not your friends. You're not inviting friends over for a pie. You are you are contacting a potential customer, or you're contacting an existing customer with information about products and services that you offer, and you think they will be interested in it. Okay, it's still business, and therefore keep it business-like. Right at the bottom, to me, it's a pet hate. I get these emails. People, the entire email is almost in capital letters. Please, that's, oh no. Do you think people do that because they want to obviously highlight the importance of certain words or sentences? You know what? Put it in bold and underline it if it's important. Don't use capitals. Okay. Um, Jokes, don't share jokes and stuff like that. It's again, it's business. It's not your buddy. Keep your personal emails and your business emails separate. I basically use my business email address to communicate for business. I also have a Gmail account set up, and that's only used for my own personal communication. Cell phones, cell phones, cell phones, cell phones, and more specifically, smartphones nowadays. That's the tool that every salesperson must have and must know how to use. Okay. Or more importantly to me, and that is that first point when it comes to cell phone etiquette. The first 2 points actually. Don't make a call, don't take a call, don't text when you're in a meeting with somebody else. That's completely disrespectful. And you know what? If you do that in my presence, it happened to me once. I've trained a lot of personal trainers. I had a college for 22 years who trained personal trainers and coaches and sport managers. So I've gone, and before that, I was a personal trainer myself. Um, and then at the ripe age of 50 plus, you know most of the things, and no personal trainer can actually um, teach you new things, a lot of new things. Okay, because I'm very much on top of what's going on in the industry, and still am. But I decided to use the services of a personal trainer because I wanted to just have peace and quiet and had somebody just to chat to. I know what I wanted to do. I know what the program is that he gave me is the guideline that we both follow. But for me, it was just I needed somebody that I can just chat to. And when I have a bad day, just to where I can unpack. And when I have a good day, we can share a joke. Within the first 3 sessions I had with that personal trainer, and lo and behold, it was one of the students I trained 10 years ago. Um, his phone rang. He excused himself. He walked away for about 10 meters um, um, out of hearing distance, and took the call. Um, he was probably on the call for about 5 minutes or so. In that time, I've stopped the treadmill that I was running on. I took a sip of water. I've got my breath back, and I just walked out. He was obviously still on his phone. When he got back to the treadmill, there was nobody. He was looking for me, and later on, I heard there was a. He called from reception. If where am I? I've left already because that's not what I signed up for. Not everybody is going to react in that manner, but sometimes people, just out of courtesy, don't say or do anything, but it irritates them to such an extent where they will just quietly not do business with you again. It is as simple as that. Another thing is, after hours, make sure that you, if you do have to contact somebody for business after hours, what I usually do if that is the case, I send a WhatsApp out and I say to the person, um, I'm, I just need some information about this and this and this. Is it a convenient time for you now, or when would be a convenient time for me? And you know what? If that person says to me, I'm sorry, it's Saturday, it's 2 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, I'm spending time with my family. Do you mind if we can this wait till Monday morning? Basically, what that person is telling me is, please call me on Monday morning. Don't bother me over the weekend. You have to respect that. You have to honor that. But it's nice to just give that person a choice, not to just phone them and then become irritated and leave messages. I can't get hold of you and. But people respect other people's after hours um, activities, and it's their time. They're not getting paid after hours, and especially if those people have families, and even if they don't have families, maybe they just don't want to be alone. They just need quiet time. They need downtime. Okay. Earlier this year, I can remember that it was still a phone in on the radio when it was Mother's Day and Father's Day, or especially Mother's Day. And people can phone in and say, listen, or mothers could phone in and say, listen, what would be the ideal gift that they want for Mother's Day? 9 out of 10 people who phone in says, peace and quiet, leave me alone. Don't spoil me. Just don't talk to me. I just want to not do anything today. Okay. And sometimes people want to do that, and we have to honor that. Okay. SMSs nowadays, not so much. I do believe there are some people who still don't have that option. So SMS will always be there. You can use that text. A lot of people WhatsApp nowadays, but then also make sure that you don't send too much important information out. It must be a short message, and especially nowadays because it's almost got a language in it on its own with all different um, variations of bad grammar. It's no. If somebody WhatsApp me from a business and they use that kind of language, I'm not even going to respond. I'm going to block that number, whatever. So just be alert and aware of that. I know um, that not a lot of us actually use a lot of you use your cell phones for business purposes, apart from maybe buying something online or ordering from Uber Foods or something like that. But because you're not yet engaging too much in business communication, when you get to that point, these things will start making sense as to the do's and don'ts of using your internet and your cell phone. Nowadays, with initially with Skype, but more so nowadays with Zoom and Teams, voice over internet communication has become very popular. Uh, you just need a good internet, stable internet connection, good speakers, good microphone, and you're off. And most of your again this week during the week, I said to you last night, I watched Social Network again just to catch up on the origin of Facebook and the process that they went through. And although it's dramatized, a lot of it is obviously based on facts. And similarly with Steve Jobs, I watched this movie, which is on Netflix again. I watched it earlier this week too, and I can remember when he came back in the movie where originally they basically kicked him out of Apple, although it was his business. He later came back. The second attempt that he had, and the position that he kept until the end as CEO, there was a new innovative group of designers. And there was one scene where he said to somebody, one of the designers, you know what? Wouldn't it be wouldn't it be grand if you can have one of these PCs with the microphone and the speakers built in? And people at that stage were like, "Is that possible?" People nowadays, that's the standard issue. It has cameras and it has microphones built in, especially for the purpose of being able to communicate um, via Skype, Zoom, and Teams. Very valuable tool it proved to be during COVID, right? And then I'm personally not a gadget person when it comes to phones. My phone must have a good battery life. It must have an easy menu to use. It must have good sound, and that's it. Because a phone is a phone. A laptop is a laptop. Smartphone, in my opinion, yeah, I have access to my emails, but I will probably read my emails on my phone, but I will not respond to them on my phone. I will still respond via my list, my laptop or my desktop, and it's a personal preference. But again, um, Gen Zs very often, you guys are gadget freaks. You like the new stuff, and there's nothing wrong with it. Don't become too obsessed about it though. Oh, I must have the new latest one. I must have this. People, remember that when a new gadget comes out, the next improved version of that gadget has already been designed. It's just not been launched. Okay. It's done in generations and there's upgrades and they add a few more things. They don't launch it because they test the water with the first version and then customer says, oh, I like this, I didn't like that. The don't likes, they quickly change in the second version before they launch the second version. People don't get caught up in that I have to have the best next one. The majority of it will remain the same. The good stuff that you need will remain the same. They'll just get better. And I find it now with my with my Samsung. It took me 2 weeks just to get used to the new menu and the use of it and everything. I got it yesterday. I got it 2 weeks ago. I've charged it once, and that to me is fantastic. I need a good battery life, and I need good sound, and I have both. I'm happy with mine, but there are a lot of goodies and devices out there that will make our lives easier, and that will make your lives as salespeople easier. The one thing on that list, tools available to salespeople, I don't know still faxes nowadays. We were all amazed when faxes came out initially. Wow, I'm in the middle of nowhere, and yeah, out of this machine comes a piece of paper with a message on that somebody sent that's 5,000 miles away. Wow, people, we have phones nowadays. If somebody says fax me the invoice or fax me the proof of payment, you know what? I'll fax it to you, but then you send me a telegram that you actually got it. People, I'm not sure if anybody uses fax anymore nowadays. Take a picture, send it on your phone. That's my proof of payment. That's my invoice. That's how people do business nowadays. Okay, so fax machines, we can probably scratch off that list. Bear in mind, obviously, that in some cases there are people that still uses that, and we can't just completely ignore it and say, "Oh, geez, are you old school?" If it's a customer that uses that method because they're comfortable with it, we have to obviously use it. But computer smartphones, tablets, these are the things that devices that we all use nowadays, that we are familiar with. And yeah, that is it pretty much, people. As I said, this chapter was just to sort of summarize and highlight aspects that you know already and that you're using on a regular basis, and just to see where they fit into the whole process of selling. So that is it. Believe it or not, people, you've been great. And we've actually done everything that we have to for this particular curriculum. Can I just get an idea? We've got 1 or 2 minutes before we finish. As I said yesterday, we'll finish the first period today, so don't bother. The fourth period, we're actually going to. Do you have class with Miss van Schoor in the second period now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But I'm not gonna. There's no new work for us to start. We've done everything that we have to do. I feel at this stage, with 2 weeks to go till the exams start, with a study week ahead of us, and with a revision period ahead of us, we've got more than enough time to prepare you very thoroughly for your exam, address all your questions, and therefore I'm going to give you the fourth period off. I'm going to say, guys, I mean, you need a breather. You've gone through a lot. You've done a lot of tests. You've submitted a lot of assignments. Take the fourth period off today. I will still be at my computer. I will sign on, and if there's anybody that wants to ask a question, I'll be there. I'm not going to disappear, but we won't have an official class. Okay, so you're not going to be marked absent if you're not in the fourth period, but I will be there if you want to ask me any questions. Anybody, any questions at this stage? Luandu, Tarquin, Tlatu? All good? Okay, fantastic. Just a reminder again, program for next week. From Wednesday onwards, we are going to start with revision, starting with feedback on your test and assignment. And also, I will post an announcement, and I will discuss the announcement, the content of the announcement in Wednesday's first class, which will basically expect you to prepare certain work for me in advance of each class every day for the revision process. Okay, I'm not going to say, let's go through all the chapters again. We all are going to go through all the chapters again, but we are going to expect you to go through the work first and see what's troubling, and then we'll address that. We won't do a scope, Luandu, but we will do something similar to that by focusing on the concepts that is of the greatest significance and the most important for your module in each chapter. Yes. Good. Thanks very much. Keep well. Good to see that you are back and adapting well, Luandu. Everybody, enjoy your weekend. Use your time productively. Try and get a good balance between working and socializing. Make good decisions and take care of yourselves. Please, thanks you very much. Enjoy the weekend. We'll chat again next week. Bye bye, everybody.